Hey YouTube, Incendar here. Today I'll do another video on cooking. This one will be pros and cons and the rationale between the different cooking utensils. A lot of people ask me, why am I using intermediate cooking utensils? And the answer is always, it's the best for me. Depending on your play style, there's going to be a best utensil for you, and hopefully we'll figure out which one that is today. So let's just get right into it. The three most basic utensils that most people are familiar with are the standard NPC cooking utensil, top left, and then the intermediate cooking utensil in the middle left, and the advanced utensil next to it. So just a quick recap, I'm going to go into some commentary and more details here after. Cooking utensil you buy from the NPC, 1000 silver. It only has 100 durability. Really great, you don't need to gather at all, and the profit margin is the highest with this. The one problem and why most people tend to avoid it is you only get 100 durability, so it requires what's called active cooking, which is 3 to 4 minutes every time you have to switch it, so you have to actually watch the game quite a bit. With the intermediate, it's 500 durability, longer AFK times. I'll have a spreadsheet here in a second that'll show all the different times as well. And then, of course, advanced, which has 900 durability, longest AFK, and it's also a little faster. It takes 1 second off your cooking time. One thing to notice here on these cooking utensils, and I have these up here with the mats required for a reason. You'll notice on as far as the intermediate versus advanced, you'll notice the intermediate uses rough stone and logs, where the advanced is using polished and scantling. What that means is you have to actually process the items you're going to need for this. But another interesting factor, and I'll show this in a second, is the amount of rough stone and logs per cooking is kind of interesting. At the bottom here now, I'll put this little thing I typed up for Incendar a little bit ago. This shows, somebody wanted to see how many utensils they needed for their CP goal of 350, so I made this up really quick. If you notice here, 350, I'll show you the total turn-ins, number of cooks required, or cooking, real hours, real days, intermediate utensils versus advanced. So for 350, you're looking at 1878 intermediate or 1044 advanced. The big thing to notice here, though, is the next columns. Advanced rough stone for intermediate versus advanced. You notice the difference here. You need 83,000 plus rough stone if you want to do this with advanced, but only 47,000 rough stone doing the intermediate. There's also less logs used if you go the intermediate route, and this is just how much it's going to take you to gather. So it's one thing to notice. So here's a spreadsheet with all the numbers. I did double check this and had other people double check it. There might be some discrepancies in here, but I think most of it's really close. You'll notice this basically just breaks down intermediate versus advanced, why I personally prefer intermediate. You'll get more durability or more cooks per rough stone, per logs, and per blackstone powder with the intermediate over the advanced. With the downside of it's only 500 durability, so less AFK time. You notice in the pros and cons boxes, I have typical standard 1 versus 2 second AFK times. And you'll notice on that NPC utensil, for example, it's only about 2 minutes, so you'll have to switch utensils every 2 minutes. Intermediate, you got about 12 minutes, and then advanced, 21 minutes. So this is personal preference. You're either gonna side with the active cooking with the NPC utensils, middle of the ground with the intermediate with the huge bonus of saving rough stone and logs, and of course advanced if you like to really AFK for longer periods of time, 21, 40 minutes, whatever. Just to also quickly run down these pros and cons. NPC utensil 1k silver, so it's the highest profit margin. It is slow, no gathering required to do this though, so overall that can save you time. When I was doing the rush for Guru 20, I was actually up against somebody that was only using NPC utensils. They played for many hours every day and could just switch utensils all day long. They were actually overcoming me because I would have to run out and get rough stone and logs all the time. So that's one thing to think about there. As far as intermediate, requires a little active time gathering. It's slow like the NPC utensil. No processing of logs and rough stone. And it's superior per durability in rough stone and logs versus advanced. And of course advanced, going to require more active time gathering, but then you'll be able to cook more AFK. So this is, personal preference on which one of these utensils you're going to want to go with. The advanced is faster though. It takes 1 second off your cooking time. I'll show that in a second why that may or may not matter to you, however. And like I said before, longest AFK. All right, so let's get into this here. I've got all the different utensils. So I've got the advanced here. I'm just going to pull up beer. And of course, I'll put a link below for how to get 1 second cooking, but you know what? I'll actually show it here in the video. This is the 1 second cooking on advanced. I'm just going to pop the alchemy stone to get to 1 second. For doing this, I am using first the pearl canap hat set, which takes 2 seconds off cooking. Sharp alchemy stone, which takes 1.4 seconds off cooking. +4 cook's clothing, which takes 5 seconds off your cooking time. And I'm also eating a tough sandwich, which is 0.5 seconds off, which gets me down to the 1 second. One thing to remember here, no matter who you are, you're going to have a 1 second cooking, which is really 1 second cooking plus your latency. And I've seen that range from 1.2 to 1.5 seconds. So if you're doing the math on this, you need, let's say you have 1.2 second latency between cooks. You'll need to do, 2.2 or whatever seconds per cook overall if you're trying to figure it out for 900, 500, or 100 or whatever. One easy way to test that is just get a standard NPC utensil, which is 100 durability. Start whatever you're cooking and just time how long it takes to do the 100, divide the time by 100, and you've got your actual time. And like I said, the latency varies. I have no idea why it varies so much. Now you'll notice here with my current gear setup, I'm actually doing a 1 second cooking on this NPC utensil, which is kind of important because for me, the time isn't any different from using intermediate NPC utensil or advanced. They're all 1 second. So it works out fine for me. Getting a +4 close is a little bit of a barrier currently. I know a lot of people have problems with +3 even. I've got really good news for you guys. We've got a new elixir that's going to be coming here pretty soon. It will take another second off cooking time. So if you're at 2 seconds now, the great news is you're going to be able to take another second off not too long. So you may want to hold off on cooking and stock up on your logs and rough stone now and not kill yourself trying to make a better cooking outfit. One thing to mention is you can actually get away with not having the pearl item with a +5 cooks. I kind of look down at this though, since it'll likely cost you many, many billions to get a +5 cook. And is that worth, the 10, or I think it's $15 or whatever for the cooking set? That's a personal decision. For me, I'm not going to spend billions to get a +5 since, it's just easier just to buy the pearl item. And let me go over here to intermediate. You'll notice with the setup I mentioned that this is also 1 second. So for me, let me get rid of this. So for me, there's really no difference between the intermediate advances. They're both 1 seconds. I can only I can AFK a shorter period of time using the intermediate, but it still works for me. I'm not the type of player that's going to want to do active cooking and switch between 1,000 utensils all day long. So for me, you'll notice me using intermediate. It uses a ton less rough stone. You only need a level 2 workshop for this too versus a 3, so that might save you some CP. And just to cover these other utensils, I'm not really a big fan of the Calpheon or the Serendia since, well, 1, they take materials, and 2, they're extremely slow with cooking. I know some people like to AFK cooking overnight. The way I've always looked at that is, it's just better to have a fast utensil and do it actively or semi-actively, and then your overnights either do the, the AFK fishing or AFK processing. It's just so much more silver. Okay, so we had the intermediate, and one last utensil that I missed. The Balenos utensil. This is also somewhat viable, especially if you're doing, if you're trying to go for that CP and or maybe Guru 20 cooking. There is some use for this, if you don't want to screw around with the NPC utensils, you don't feel like gathering rough stone logs. You can get this from an NPC for 50,000 silver. It has mid-range durability. You can notice the speed is really slow, but some people might like to AFK for longer periods of time, so this might work for you. I'm not a huge fan of this, but it's definitely an option. So I'll pull up the spreadsheet here one more time just so you can have the comparisons. And if you want to pause or whatnot, and I'll also put a link below to the website, which will show you, how much rough stone and logs you're going to be looking at if you're going to be pushing 350 CP. Click subscribe to get notifications of new videos. Visit Incendar.com. I put all the tools I use in game there. You can leave a comment or question or video suggestion. I do read them all and try to respond. Twitch and Discord links are below. Discord has links to all the other BDO Discords as well. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.